Hey guys, it's Allie. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I've been thinking about doing for a really long time, only because it gets asked to me. I get asked whatever, a lot. And so I am currently in my second year of college, and I do not publicize or make it public where I go now, just out of privacy reasons. But many of you know I spent my first year of college at San Diego State. Go Aztecs. But as you know now, I do not go there anymore. And people ask me a lot, like, why I left and, like, is it a bad school? So I'm gonna give a few main points, because I know some of you may be watching this because you're thinking of applying and you're not sure if you should. But overall, it is a great school. All of my issues with it were very personalized to me and are not things that would usually happen to everyone. So the main points, for those of you who just want to click and go, I had a lot of social issues, guys, girls, everyone. Wow, I'm so dramatic. No, it was just, and I'm not like trying to run away from my problems by doing this. If you want to think that, you can. I really don't care. I've had the usual gotten stabbed in the back, dumped, that kind of stuff. I had a lot of really big, really frequent, really bad social issues. And so that is not the only reason I left. That just kind of made it worse for me to be there. Like, for my mental health and for just my overall happiness, it made it really hard to be there. Another reason, as many of you know, is that is kind of when my health started to deteriorate. When I started to have my stomach problems. If you don't know the full story about that, I'm gonna link my WeedTube video in the description down below of why I had to stop smoking. There I kind of gave all my reasons, everything that happened with my stomach, all the sicknesses I started to develop. And so if you want to know the reasons behind that, that's going to be in that video. I don't really feel like going into it again. Anyway, so that's that video. And then there were just a few other little things that were more personalized to me. Wow, you really have to be patient if you like my videos because of all the mistakes I make. Anywho, I'm going to get right into it. So I'm going to start with the social issues. I'm not going to get too in-depth on them just because, like, these people may have hurt me, but I still want to I still want to respect them and respect their privacy. So I am not going to reveal any names. I'm not going to give any personal information, just kind of like I did with my loss of virginity story, which can also be found on the WeedTube, and I'll link that because it does play a part. So anyway, I'll start from the beginning. So I did move dorms. And so instead of saying my first dorm, my second dorm, this is public knowledge, public information. I'm going to say the names. So my first dorm was called Cali. I'm going to call it Queek because that is what we called it because it's a long name. So first I lived in Queek, and I lived there until after Thanksgiving break. I got along with, so the way that those dorms are laid out is they're suite style. And so there are 9 girls or guys. I mean, the floors are co-ed, the suites are gender, the suites are all gender, or all one gender. And so I lived in Queek, and I got along with my roommates. Like, I had a single room, but I got along with my suite mates really well. Like, we became really close friends, and it was nice because I had never had, like, sisters, so I kind of felt like I had, like, the sisters that I never had. And so that was nice for a while. I'm not going to get into too many details with this because they're really just irrelevant to the story. But basically, we all started fighting a lot. We just had a lot of issues. We weren't getting along. And so basically, I had talked to my RA about moving out. And I'm like, I'm just miserable. And so I filled out the paperwork. I was going to bring it in to the housing office the next day. But that the day before at like noon, there was a group text saying, hey, we want to have a meeting, like, of our side of the suite, like, to discuss the dynamic of the suite. Because the suites were kind of like, there were 2 bathrooms per suite, and so there's like one side of the suite and the other side with like a kitchen and like living area in the middle. And so I was like, okay. Like, no one else was saying anything except for one person, and like, so I kind of assumed it was going to be like about me. And so, not to like think highly of myself, but so they didn't want the meeting until 9 o'clock, like that night. So y'all know how I am with my anxiety. And so I was thinking about that for the entire day. And then it got to be 9 o'clock. And by the way, before this, they were was trying to study and they were being so loud, so obnoxious. I asked them to turn the music down and they refused. I like was gonna call the front desk because I had a midterm the next day, I think, and I was so angry and stressed already that this was like my tipping point. So I like went to like a room on another floor to study until the meeting. So the meeting began at 9, it ended at 9:01. So there were 4 of us total. It was me sitting on a chair and the 3 of them sitting on a couch. And so basically they were like, oh, we know you've been upset, blah, 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 and we think you should reconsider your living situation. I'm like, I'm moving out. They said, oh, well, then I guess we're done here. I'm like, okay. So I left. It's like, who fucking does that? Who kicks someone out? Like, what kind? This is why it really, like, it grinds my gears. Like, it makes me so angry the way that girls treat each other sometimes. Like, the fact that they had the audacity to kick me out. Like, I was already moving out, but the fact that they were like, but you should reconsider. It's like, you don't like me, you move out. It was my decision to move out. It should not have been theirs. So anyway, I moved out, and so I moved across campus into a dorm called University Towers. It was where all like the football players and the foreign kids lived, and it's weird because the girl I moved in with was neither a football player or was neither an athlete or foreign. We were polar opposites, but we got along. She was easy to live with. She, like, it was very nice. We would eat pizza and watch Jeopardy together, and I loved her. And like, I still talk to her sometimes. We actually both did not come back to state. We were supposed to live together our sophomore year, and I decided not to go back, and she had her reasons, but she decided not to go back either. Anyway, that was my first bad encounter, and that was a mess. Like, that took so much out of me. So in the process of that, like, not related to those girls, but in the process, I started talking to a guy. And so this is where my loss of virginity story comes into play. Broke my heart, crushed me, destroyed me. That happened. If you want to see that video, like I said, I'll put in the link. Anyway, so there is one more guy, I guess, who, not really, I guess, but there was one more situation involving a guy that made it a really bad experience for me. Really just crushed me. Emotionally put me down the drain. Oh my gosh. Like, this was one of the worst pain I went through. Like, the loss of virginity and then this guy were like the worst part about San Diego State for me personally, just because like they really ruined my time there. But and like, I know I shouldn't let a guy ruin whatever. So this guy, basically, he was my best friend, turned into like friend with benefit. Obviously, I caught feelings, as girls tend to do, not trying to make a stereotype, but so I caught feelings, and which usually is inevitable with friends with benefits, but he really was my best friend. I didn't want to change anything, and so I just like acted normal, and he definitely led me on. Like, he would deny it if you asked him, but he was like, you make me so happy, like, I haven't felt a connection like this with a girl since blah blah blah, my ex. Like, it, like, looking back, I feel really played. Anyway, so that, we ended up like drifting apart. I ended up getting upset about it. He didn't like how upset I got. It was a big ordeal. The hardest part about it for me was that I lost my best friend. And so, yeah, that was rough. So that's the specific social issues I had. The final social aspect about state that I didn't like was the importance of Greek life. So I don't want to say I'm against Greek life, but it's not something I would want to be a part of. It's too expensive. It's just not my scene. And so I didn't want to be a part of Greek life, but Greek life played a very important role in your social life there. And I really did not like the exclusion that Greek life had. So a lot of the times for frat parties, you had to show a text, show a group chat from your sorority in order to get in. A lot of schools, it's just, if you're a girl, you can get in. Like, and so I've actually gotten turned away from parties because I didn't know anyone. Like, I had heard about the party, so I went with some friends and they turned us away. And so that really bothers me, because the fact that like I just want to have some fun, like I really wasn't a big drinker. I just wanted to like go out, have some fun, meet some people, but no, I have to be in a sorority for that. So like I did do my fair share of partying, but it was just kind of frustrating that I felt like I always was a little worried that I wasn't gonna get in, even if like I had a text. Like it was always something that was very concerning for me and made me very anxious. And I just don't think it's right, you know? Like I know that like, oh, you join a sorority like to meet more people or like to make more friends, do more events, be more social. Okay, but what if I don't want to pay thousands of dollars to make these friends, live in this house, go to these events, wear these letters on my chest? Like, why don't I get to party? Then, like I said, I do not hate Greek life in any way. My man's, whatever you want to call him, is in Greek life. A lot of my close friends have been in Greek life, but it's just the system at state I really did not like. So that's it. Wow, this is a little longer video than I expected. So that is it for the social issues I had. So now my health issues, as you guys know from that video, if you've watched it, like my my stomach and like my health as a whole just really started to deteriorate towards the end of the year. I ended up coming home every weekend, going to different doctors all the time. Like it was one problem after the next, and I just felt a lot more comfortable home. And so that was the biggest reason why I came home. It was not because of all these social issues. I mean, that was a big deal for me mentally, but physically, and like the biggest issue, like the number one issue, was my health. And that's why I had to be home. That's why I found a school closer to home. That's why I transferred off. And I still think it is a great decision. So finally, so like my laziness did play a big part in it. Like I did not want to walk all the way across campus to go to class. That was one thing I really did not like about University Towers, was how far it was from class. There were some days like I would wake up and be like, I really don't feel like walking all the way to class. Maybe I'm just lazy, I don't know, but it was farther than all the other dorms, except for maybe one. But like I did not like that part of it, but it was just better than living in my old dorm. The last and final thing that was just like, I don't want to say it was the final straw for me, but it was just like really like another thing. So I got a job at a little coffee shop. This I don't care if I publicize at all. So they were called BCB Cafe, Big City Bagels. It's San Diego based. I'm not going to give any names, but like of people, but basically there was a manager who trained us, and like I had already worked at a coffee shop in the past. And so like I had a lot of experience. And so I don't know, like it wasn't like hard to start the job. But the thing is, it was like a coffee kiosk. It wasn't like a big coffee shop, like a Coffee Bean or a Starbucks. And so it was outside, and like I knew that, and I would open, so I'd have to get up at 5:30. Like that was fine. Like that was kind of parts that I didn't like about the job, but it was nothing that would make me quit. Until one day, I was starting my shift, and I started feeling really sick, really nauseous. And so I texted my manager. I'm like, I really can't work. There were only 2 of us on cart at a time. I'm like, I don't think I can handle this. I don't think I can continue working. I am really nauseous. I think I'm going to throw up. I really need to go home. And he was like, try and sit, or like, just try and breathe. Like, let me know if it gets worse, whatever. Like, just try and relax or whatever. 10 minutes later, I ran to the bathroom and puked my guts out. And so we think now, there was no like reason that like we really knew. We think now is from withdrawing from medication. But so basically, so I texted him and I'm like, I threw up. I think I should go home. He said, just wash your hands and maybe drink some water, see if you feel better, and try and find a cover in the meantime. It was 6:30 a.m. I was not going to find a cover. So that was the first straw at this business. The second straw, or like the last, was, so I decided to give my 2-week notice because I was in the hospital with my pancreatitis and I couldn't work my shifts. So I texted him and he was like, you need to text the entire roster. I'm like, I text these 7 people, like, I can't get my shift covered, I'm sorry. He said, you need to text the entire roster, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to be like, I'm in the fucking emergency room. I do not have the mental or physical capability to text everyone. It like, I just like, seriously, like how much can you lack compassion? Like, I just don't understand. And so that was the last straw. So I gave my 2-week notice. And so, but like my last week there, I happened to be very heartbroken about the friend with benefit. And so I wanted to work more during my last week to, like, to get my mind off of it. So like I said I would cover like 2 different shifts. Then my manager texted me saying, your shifts have been canceled. You can come pick up your final paycheck. That was when I decided to take some action. So the first time I did talk to the owner of the business, like when I threw up, and she felt for me, but like it definitely wasn't really the response I wanted. And she didn't really, I felt like, and he like talked to me about it, and he was like the manager, he was like, oh, like you would be a liability to me if I had you walk home and like you passed out. It's like I threw up and then walked home anyway. Like I got to leave, and like it's not like anyone escorted me home. Like I lived down the street. He was like, oh, and I know like one person cannot like handle this kiosk. I wanted to be like, I work here every Monday. Like the shifts are the same each week. I know it is slow enough for one person. Like, are you kidding me? And I'm getting off track. But so yeah, so I quit. And so the owner really did not respond the way I wanted her to either situation. And so that's when I decided to call like San Diego's health code. I think SDSU health code called me back finally and was like, oh, well, did he actually physically see you throw up? And I wanted to be like, does it matter? Anywho. So yeah, that was basically, those are all the reasons combined why I left state. The big reason being my health issues. If you want a video about the positives of state, I'd be happy to give that too, because this is nothing against San Diego State at all. I just had some unlucky experiences that made it not such a good experience for me. And so I wouldn't like tell someone not to go there. It was a great school. It's a beautiful school, a beautiful campus. I did meet some great people there. But the only thing I have to say is, like, expect to be surrounded by partying and expect just a big, large social aspect. And if you're not a part of that, I feel like you're very left out. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rant if you have gotten this far. Be sure to click the thumbs up if you like videos like this. If you have any more questions for me about San Diego State, leave them in the comments and I'll try to get some answers out to you. Subscribe if you haven't, and I love you guys. I'll see you next time.